we've learnt about our fabulous globe balloons from Grabo. I've shown you in an earlier video how to open up the seams, ready for inflation, and to chop off the top of the neck. So this is something I do most times, just to put less pressure on the balloon more than anything else. In this one, we're just going to do a little air-filled design. Just going to put a little bit of air into the balloon, and then we're going to use gilding flakes, gold leaf, whatever you call it. There's so many different names for these, but it's basically just your very fine metallic flake. Very, very soft, not sharp at all, and something that will make a guaranteed mess wherever you're using it. Comes in lots of different colours. We're just going to use silver here to go inside the green one for a bit of a alternative Christmassy feel. And all I'm using is a straightforward funnel. As you can see, your silver flakes, your gold flakes, your rose gold flakes, whatever colour you use, they are so lightweight. They're great for helium designs, but it does mean that you get covered in little shards of metal. Just using a balloon stick to push this down into the body of the balloon. And on some of the shred that you can get, it can be quite clumped together. And some of the sheets can actually be quite large. Now, if you do have that, you kind of want to use your fingers when you're putting it in to separate it out, because the smaller the chunks, the better. And you don't want any really big, solid, hard bits in there. You want it just to float and stick to the balloon. You deal with this like you would do for confetti in a normal balloon. So if you were helium filling, you would add some air to make sure that you generate the static. As you can see, they're very static at the moment and they're sticking to my little wand. And I'm making a mess, as you do. It's like little robotic hands. You can put in as much as you need because it's an air-filled one. I could put in 2 or 3 times the amount there. However, I'm very conscious of the mess that I'm making. My desk is covered in silver, as are my clothes. I'm going to take some reflex latex here in the 5-inch. And since I'm doing it air-filled, I'm just using a balloon stick to insert that balloon into the neck. If I was using helium, I'd just put it straight on the end of my trigger valve. Tying a knot in the latex and then snipping it off as low down as I can do by the knot. And obviously we're not worrying about the liftability of these because we are only air filling, we're not helium filling. But you do still need to think about the aesthetics. So you don't want your balloons to look really balloon shaped, and you don't want this massive big balloon neck at the end of it. So trim off everything that you can. It makes it an awful lot neater in your finished design and means that you can charge more because it looks properly finished rather than just an afterthought. If we were doing it with helium, it's always good practice to chop off the necks because it's excess weight that you really don't need. It doesn't bring anything to the design, just gives you a little bit less liftability when you've got these still stuck on them, as well as not looking pretty. In my 15-inch globes, we tend to put 9 balloons inside. You can put as few as you like. If helium filling, I wouldn't necessarily do too many more. You do have about 20 to 25 grams of liftability with a 15-inch globe. But still, if you're not going to be using all that liftability, use that saving to make a little bit of a helium saving by topping up with air. What I would say is never be tempted though if you are helium filling these inside balloons, helium filling this outside balloon, to actually air fill the inside balloons. The joy of science means that if you air fill these little latex and then helium filled the outer balloon, what would happen on a molecular structure is the very tiny helium atoms that are in the outer balloon will find a way to leach through the big molecular holes in the latex, and they'll enter that balloon and make it bigger and bigger. The air that's inside it can't escape because the molecular structure of the air molecules are too big to escape the latex. So you want to make sure that everything is a stable balance in it. So if the inside balloons are filled with helium, as the helium enters these balloons, it will also escape and it'll make it a constant size. But if you do air fill those inner balloons, helium fill the outer, the helium will enter those inner balloons and they'll just pop. It might take a couple of hours, it might take a couple of days, but it will happen. So just avoid it. Now with doing this as an air-filled one, in theory we could put an awful lot more balloons in than just the 9 because we're not worried about any liftabilities. However, 9's just a nice number and I like working with odds. So we'll just go with 3 of each of our colours. And you'll see that the colour of the champagne, when it's inside the green balloon, really doesn't look champagne. The colour of the red inside the balloon doesn't look as red. Ooh, safety caught. And the colour of the green looks even more green. You're taking on some of the outer plastics coloration, which means that you've got more variety in what you do. You can properly get creative and mix and match. So we've got 8 balloons in there. My last little green here, I'm going to seal the balloon with. If you go on Grabo Balloons YouTube, you'll see, and to be fair on Grabo Decorator UK, you'll see there are all the videos that we filmed last year about sealing the globes. You can heat seal, you can use stretchy tape, you can use a 160 or 260 wrapped around the neck if that's what you prefer. My method tends to be using this last balloon as a bung. So I'm going to inflate that last balloon, squish it rounded, take that neck and get rid, but I'm not going to seal it. I'm not going to tie that balloon off. I'm going to inflate the outer balloon. Without letting air out, because otherwise you get covered in silver like I just have done. I'm a bit red in the face. That's because you're actually trying to hand inflate into a very pressurised unit, into a pressurised balloon. When you're doing it with a helium inflator, you don't notice because the helium's under pressure anyway. When you're doing it with a hand pump, obviously it's your physical manpower that is pushing against a balloon that really doesn't want to stretch that much. So you do go a little bit red in the face and feel like you've been at a gym workout. So, just like we did with the double bubble effect, you can see that latex that's in there is blocking that neck completely. So no air is escaping whilst I've got that there. I'm going to just twist my balloon a couple of times, place it between the desk and my body, and then again use that latex neck to wrap around the outside of the deco, trapping both balloons in place while I make a knot. And it's sealed. You can see the gold leaf is sticking to the latex because obviously the latex are quite a static balloon either. Give it a bit of a rub and stroke where you want it to be and it'll stick to the side of the balloon, just as it would do with confetti. I'm then going to tie that onto just a little air-filled base, trying to remove my rubbish that I've got here. In true Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. Very simple little 8 balloon base using 11-inch and 5-inch balloons. But I'm just going to use the neck of this rather than tying a 160 or 260 around it. I'm just going to use the neck to pull down into the design so it's straight in the centre, and then tie. Double knot for extra security. But it gives you just another little air-filled idea for a design for Christmas or any time. It can be vinyl personalised. The vinyls last on these balloons beautifully, both when they're helium-filled or air-filled. But also on an air-filled design, you're guaranteed to get certainly weeks, if not months, if not years, out of the bubble. The latex will just need high shining or balloon shining to make that last beautifully as long as the balloon. But hopefully that's a little bit of inspiration for you, and you've seen how we do our sealing of the Grabo globes. Keep watching Grabo Balloons YouTube channel for more snippets, more tips and tricks, and I shall be visiting you hopefully very soon with some more demo days.